bill allows the federal government to bypass regulation as it sees fit if it's in the interests of quickly building infrastructure that is in the national interest. As the bill was being introduced, several caveats nonetheless, the federal government has a lot of roads with a lot of big as they many who are frustrated that of the state the government spending one contract to manage federal projects, you can bypass these like
Door was locked from the inside. Killer must have gone out this way.
There are no footprints apart from Officer Collins' size 10 shoes.
Well, this happened weeks ago. Tracks could have faded.
No, this type of soil would retain a trace. Nobody's been out here for a long time. Lieutenant, I think I figured out what happened.
Oh, yeah? Shoot, I'm all ears.
It all started in the kitchen.
There are obvious signs of a struggle. The question is, what exactly happened here?
I think the victim attacked the android with the bat.
That lines up with the evidence. Go on.
The android stabbed the victim.
So the android was trying to defend itself, right? Okay, then what happened?
The victim fled to the living room.
And he tried to get away from the android. All right, that makes sense.
The android murdered the victim with the knife.
Okay. Your theory's not totally ridiculous, but it doesn't tell us where the android went.
It was damaged by the bat and lost some therium.
Lost some what?
Therium. You call it blue blood. It's the fluid that powers androids' biocomponents. It evaporates after a few hours and becomes invisible to the naked eye.
Oh, but I bet you can still see it, can't you?
Correct.
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing with that chair?
I'm going to check something.
Gonna check something.
I was just defending myself. He was gonna kill me. I'm begging you. Don't tell him.
Connor, what the fuck is going on up there?
It's here, Lieutenant!
Oh, shit. Chris, Ben, get your asses in here now! Come on!
Todd? Dinner is ready.
Yeah, I'm coming.
There wasn't much in the kitchen. I did what I could.
Life's funny. I lost my job because of androids. And when I need somebody to take care of this goddamn house, what do? Go out and hire a fucking android. What a joke. Of course, androids are so fucking wonderful. They never fail. They're never tired. Never sad. They're so fucking perfect, they ruined my fucking life! What are you looking What's your fucking problem? Not the life you dreamed of, eh? Maybe you think this is easy. Maybe you think it's my fault we live in this fucking shithole. My fault your fucking mother took off. You should stop taking drugs, Todd. Sometimes you really scare me, Todd. Fucking bitch took off without a word. Fucking whore walked out on me for a fucking accountant! It's all your fault.
Daddy, no!
It's all your fucking fault! Get back here. Come back here. Come back here right now! You stay there. Don't you dare fucking move, or I'll bust you worse than last time.
He's coming. He's gonna hurt me. Run! Get away, or he's gonna break you like last time.
Alice! Alice! Daddy's coming! You need to be taught a lesson.
I have to find something.
Alice! Open this fucking door! You're gonna get a hell of a dressing, Alice! What the fuck are you doing here? Get out of my way!
No. I won't let you hurt her.
You won't let me? What the fuck are you talking about? You're just a goddamn piece of plastic! You seem to have a problem, and I'm gonna fix it for good.
Watch out, Kara!
Come here, bitch.
Stop that! Don't hurt her! Leave her alone!
You do as I say! Come here. have to obey me! You're mine.
This one is okay.
I'm getting boxes out for come on, does not count. You gotta be in the door. First objective done. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Last video, I showed y'all the giveaways for the next Whatnot show. Hadn't got them in yet, but they came in yesterday when I wasn't here. So we opened them up. I figured I'd show them to y'all this time. So this is a giveaway every couple minutes on Whatnot. You don't have to buy nothing. You don't have to do nothing. Sign up. Come sit in the chat. Getting every giveaway. And you can win these right here. I also have something else coming for y'all that, in my opinion, if you want to buy something better than this for under spot, I just haven't gotten them yet. Once I get them, I'll show you. I'll do another video. But these are all the giveaways. Completely free. Don't have to buy nothing. Come join the chat. People in the comments that win a lot. Here they are right here. All these right there. All these paint bars. That's our next giveaway right there. Every couple minutes, there's 30 of them here. I don't know if we'll get through all 30 of them, how long the show is going to be, but we usually give something away every couple minutes on there. So join the Whatnot show, 29th of this month. I have something else coming for y'all. Two in there still hanging out. All these right here, you can win them completely free. Let's go on there. What you got? Where are you trying to get a loan?
Yeah.
Where are you trying to get it?
That's worth about 60. I'm trying to get it.
Get a bed.
I was trying to strap on that.
I don't know off the top of my head what all I can do for this. I gotta look.
All good. I have them on back for the collector.
I just like to
That's
listen to
it,
eBay, man,
last
because
weekend.
Yeah, it gives you a more
it
accurate price
just
point.
goes off what actually people's buying, you know, like
Yeah.
what they're paying for stuff.
Ready then.
Very
good. I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all on the next round.
Next time, see,
Get my Aussies back on.
these are the two most expensive ones. Or these?
It's these three.
Yeah, I mean,
This one and that one are about
I bought a-
about 160-ish.
I bought a bracelet.
This one, that
It's
was
insane.
180.
Have a good one, bro. Y'all have a good one.
Alright, man.
This one is like 350, 380. This one is 300, and this one is 300.
And roll cards like this are, I don't like to put too much money into them just because I know.
I don't plan on leaving them. Like, I'm definitely coming back to these.
I mean, I want to believe you, but I just gotta go
Oh, no,
off what, you know.
I know how it is. It's business.
Gotta go off what. See, if it was graded, it's so much easier to just look and see what.
Yeah, it tells you the name, all the, what set it came from, all that.
I mean, the ones that are graded, I got the value right at 1,000, but I don't. The two that aren't graded, I don't like to put that much money into that stuff, man. So
I like it.
I'm probably gonna be way off of what you're trying to get on.
I like it.
I'm typically about half of what I think they go for, because Because if you don't, I have to hold them for 60 days. If you don't come back and get them, I gotta sell them.
Yeah.
eBay and stuff, there's fees and all that. But yeah, on this stuff, I probably loan you like $600 on that stuff.
Okay. I guess I'll just do the 6. The 6 on these. Yeah.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, man. How's it going, man?
Good. Yourself?
Good, good. What can I help you with?
Like a month ago, I brought the knives in, and you said if you could give me a couple extra dollars if you wanted to.
The knives?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you said it's 50 more?
That'd be cool.
Actually, I'm going to change this to a bar.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
How's the cruise?
It was good, man. It was good. I had a good time.
We're doing good.
Just Bahamas with the kids. Signing right there, right down the front.
Yes, sir.
Lightly.
You come across any more of them old knives and stuff we buy, all that old coins?
So I got some old coins, but they're like the 1850 cent pieces, and I don't know. I was trying to get back like the base that I put into them, kind of.
20,
Thank you, sir. We're good now, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, if you come across any more stuff like that, you know,
I'll
start
get it.
getting with us. Any old stuff, any old
So I got some more pocket knives, but they're not as fancy as those two. So
What are they? What kind?
like just folding pocket knives are really old.
What's the brand?
The case.
Case knives.
Yeah.
If you want to bring them in, we'll
Any
look at 'em.
case knives I'll buy. That's what I look for the most. All right, so real quick, I know this part of the video is a little different. I didn't really show what the guy pawned and then turned it into a buy. So what he did was he brought in 2 knives. I know I have a lot of people on here that like knives, which these are 2 pretty unique and cool knives. The bad thing about this one is it's somebody sharpened down the tip of it. And the back wood's got like a little cracking on it. But it's just a condition. If this was in really good shape, this knife is pretty expensive. And this was the other one that is in better shape. This is a Puma. It's called a Hunter's Pal. Stag, fixed blade. But this knife's pretty expensive. This one's probably about $250. That one in that condition, maybe $100. I don't know. You have to put it on eBay and see what it does. Or maybe we might have these on Whatnot if people are interested in them. So I just wanted to show those real quick. What happened was he pawned them. My dad pawned them when I wasn't here. I think he gave him a $100 loan on them. And then he said, hey, if I just go ahead and sell them, will you give me a little bit more? So we gave him 50 more, so we got 150 in them. This one, comps are around, they're all over the place actually. They go anywhere from 180 to 500. But I think it's probably worth about 250. And these are worth, you know, 200-300, but in this condition, it's just not. It won't get that much. I'm thinking maybe $80 to $100 on this one.
Hello.
How's it going, man? What can I do for you?
Me.
Trying to pawn it or sell it?
Not just pawn.
What are you trying to get on it?
Do you remember me, right? No?
I've seen you. Have you had this in here before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember the class one.
Mm-hmm. I can come back Friday or Saturday.
You have that same one, right?
Huh?
You have the same one?
Yeah.
What do you need?
600.
Shouldn't be a problem. Do you have your ID with you?
Uh-huh.
Said you think you're going to come back when?
Friday or Saturday.
So that's 600?
Uh-huh. How much?
If you come back by Saturday, I'll do like $60. 10%.
Friday?
Yeah, if you come back like before Saturday, I'll do like $60. That's 10%.
It's okay.
But anything after that is going to be like
20%.
After Friday. Come back after Friday, after Saturday. Like in a week, 2 weeks, it's going to be more.
Okay.
Let's see. As long as it's by Saturday, 60.
Okay. If I want to sell it, how much you can give me?
What do you want for it?
Huh?
How much do you want for it?
Oh, no. I don't know. What is the price of the car?
Be at like 3,500. Still want to pawn it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Sign right there, right thumbprint.
It's one of those shoes. Is it the same one?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same weight, but I still want to check it. I remember the clasp on it. I remember the crown.
Yeah, one. 6.
Put this on here for you. So you get back by 8/9, which is Saturday, charge 60. If it goes over that, it's going to be 120 for the month.
Okay.
All right. That one's yours.
Okay.
Bring that back with you when you come back.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. How's it going?
I called them to see if you guys accept Jordans. Okay.
Go ahead. Like 5 minutes ago. You can bring them in. I'll look at them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, brand new box.
Back and you can tell me which one is you that you have. You say, just bring it in.
So we can find it. So we can back and just call it back.
These are the brand new. Never more in the box. Yeah, man. These probably what you want for them.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, these I don't really mess with them. They're for one, it's not none. They're tough size, and they're just not like something that's like really desirable.
Okay.
Yeah, so me, I'd probably pass on them.
Get that on? No problem, brother.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
No problem.
how's it going, man? Help you do anything? Oh, you got the silver? Yeah, this was here before, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mike. I'll try to well, I'm going to show myself. I was a bond or do you want to sell it? Bond. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, Joseph. Yep. We'll see you later, man.
I'll bring it in eventually.
All right. And what you trying to get on all of it? That's fine. That one's yours, and you're good to go. Okay. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video for the giveaway today. Today's Friday. Get this toned 1.25 ounce Canadian bald eagle. It's a beautiful coin. My opinion, people probably gonna kill me, but Canadian silver is nicer than the American in my opinion. But before we get to that, we'll do the recap real quick. A couple things. Like I said earlier, the whatnot show you see on the pant bars. We're going to give away a lot of those. Probably not all 30 of them. I don't know if we'll go that long. We do a giveaway like every few minutes on there. But you can just enter and get in those for free. You don't have to buy nothing. I got something else coming for y'all also. To get to the video, there was a lot of pawns this week. So I've shown pawns before, of course, and then that's why I have to blur people because it's just like a personal thing, so, you know, I just blur them for their privacy and stuff like that, so that's why everybody that pawned something today, you've seen they were blurred. First guy come in, he had the Pokemon cards. I don't really get too much into cards, sometimes we'll buy sealed box stuff, but cards are weird. Card prices on eBay are weird, people inflate the prices, they're just, I don't really like to put that much money into them, especially raw cards that's not graded, which were the two you seen he had, which looked fairly expensive, but Pokemon cards are highly faked. I'm not an expert on Pokemon cards. I have a good idea. I bought them before, so I just don't really like to put that much money into them. So we gave him a loan on them. We gave him $600. So this is another thing, the rates in Florida. So I know people watch all over. The rates in Florida, what most people go off is 25%, and then you can go down to your discretion of whatever you want. Some states are different. I've heard some states are 5, some states are 7, some states are 15. It just depends on what state you're in. In Florida, the max we can charge is 25%. So the second part of the video, you seen the guy come in with the knives. Well, he didn't come in with them. He actually pawned them, and then he wasn't going to get them back. So he said if I give him a little bit more, he would just sell them. So we ended up buying from him. I thought they were 2 unique knives. I figured I'd show them to y'all. We'll probably have those available on the Whatnot show also. And the third part was another pawn. Like I said, that was the kind of theme of this video, was the Cuban chain. That chain, when he said sell it, I offered him like $3,500. That was right at like 80%, but he just wanted a loan on it. So we gave him $600, and that's the thing about, you know, what rates we can charge. So he said it was only going to be, which that was like Monday. He said he'd come back Saturday. So I said if he come back Saturday, I would just do it for 10%, and then he would get his chain back for the $600 we loaned him plus $60. The shoes you seen the guy bring in, shoes are tough too. So there are shoes that are very valuable. I'm into shoes. I buy a lot of them. Those 2 pairs that he had, they don't even sell for retail. So I showed what, you know, StockX, the highest bid on them and last sales on them were, and that's less than they cost when you originally bought them retail. So some shoes are like that. You just have to be careful what you're buying. If you're buying them to resell them or invest in them or anything like that. But I knew he wasn't going to take the $40 a piece for them. So in my opinion, it's just better for me not to make him mad and never come back. Maybe he'll have something else and he'll come back. And I didn't, you know, piss him off on those where he'll never come back. So I just kind of play it by ear. I knew he wasn't going to take that. So I just walked with it, and we just kind of say, you know, it's kind of not for us. And the last part was the silver. That was a huge silver Cuban bracelet. I pawned that. I gave him $280 on it. Another pawn we took in. I just show, you know, different ways we make money. The pawn aspect is one of them, where we loan money on a lot of jewelry. So that's what a lot of it is, like loans. The majority of it's going to be on jewelry, like you've seen, and then, you know, they'll pay the interest on it. We'll give it back to them. So that's one part of the business we do here. All right, so let's get to the giveaway. 1 1/4 ounce Canadian bald eagle. Little Tony. It's nice in my opinion. We got the link to the video. Grab the comments. This video had a lot of views, so there's 1,417 comments. We got the link to the video. Comments right there. Try to get y'all in frame. And this is going to run for 10 seconds. We're going one winner. Here we go. 1 week to claim the prize. Call the shop, MJ Pawn, Winter Haven, Florida. I'll ask you to verify you're the winner by doing something for me. Professional refreshment. Professor refreshment. My bad. So, appreciate y'all so much. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Can't think of nothing else. I'll see y'all Wednesday.
Donald Trump has baited Mark Carney into another trap. He's getting more concessions forced on him from this trade war. Mark Carney's left with nothing other than continuing to go down to Mexico and beg for forgiveness. At the same time, he is spending billions of taxpayer dollars. Funny enough, all of these projects were forced by Trump. This is at the same time that Canadians are losing jobs, private debt is growing, and people are declaring bankruptcy at alarming rates. Trump's already moved on to India and Russia. It's starting to feel like Trump is letting Canada rot in the corner until he comes back and makes Canada the 51st state. Although he is closing a major employment loophole that will be hurting India. It's a loophole that they used against Canada as well. But don't worry, we still have enough of their entrepreneurs here, and they will save us from ourselves. And speaking of jobs and entrepreneurs, the media is running cover on how bad the job situation is and how it was caused by Operation Curry Bomb in Canada. And while they're ramping up all of this rhetoric, the anti-Trump, anti-American rhetoric is going off the charts. Almost every mainstream news channel is putting out anti-Trump, anti-American pieces right now. There's a lot to talk about in today's video, so let's get into it. Carney is patching up ties with Mexico in face of Trump threats, Carney is still planning on going down to Mexico to try and get a bilateral trade agreement going, even though Mexico has said, we're not really that interested. At the same time, why would Mexico risk this when they are on a 90-day grace period to organize a deal with and negotiate a deal with America? You think they're going to set up a bilateral trade agreement with Canada? Why would they risk putting a deal together with Canada, especially since this is an apology tour? This move represents an attempt to patch over differences that arose during the final months of the previous Canadian administration, aka Justin Trudeau. When provincial leaders mused about sidelining Mexico in trade talks with the U.S., Carney's predecessor refused to rule it out. Okay, so now Canada is negotiating off the back foot with the U.S., and they're going down to Mexico to beg for forgiveness after Canada threw them under the bus. Yeah, that's going to work out real well for them. But then we had a new major concession that's being pushed by U.S. Congress, major threat to trade. U.S. Congress Republicans call for Canada to rescind the Online Streaming Act. The letter sheds light on how growing numbers of influential U.S. politicians are using ongoing trade negotiations to push back against digital policies. So again, they're using this trade negotiation to make Canada change their laws. This is huge because almost every Canadian had a problem with the Online Streaming Act, and what it's taken to get this resolved, potentially, it hasn't changed yet, is pressure from the Trump administration. Yet another concession, another move that Canadians wanted that Trump is getting done. It's crazy how the pressure from the Trump administration is fixing Canada on a bunch of the things that we wanted changed here. Republicans on an influential House committee are pushing top Trump administration officials to pressure Canada to kibosh its controversial Online Streaming Act, which they describe as a major threat to the trade relationship. The fact that the Online Streaming Act already imposes discriminatory obligations and threatens additional obligations imminently is a major threat to our cross-border digital trade relationship. As bilateral trade negotiations continue, we urgently request that you engage with your Canadian counterparts to share our concerns and rescind the Online Streaming Act. So they want this changed, Canadians want it changed, but what has Mark Carney made as his next new major announcement? While we're in this trade war, Canada announced $2 billion investment in military salaries. Canada will boost the salaries of its soldiers in order to recruit new and retain current members. The federal government said these changes are needed to reflect current global challenges. The new pay...
So I honestly hate that stupid little orange tree back there. This orange has been growing on there for like a month now. I've done those videos on this. It fell off. And look at this stupid thing. It didn't even get big enough.
So I'm just gonna smash it here. It smells good. Smells like an orange.
increases are part of the $9.3 billion in new military investment Prime Minister Mark Carney announced on June 9th to bring Canada's defense spending within reach of the 2% NATO target by the end of this fiscal year. Can anybody else think of another world leader who put pressure on Mark Carney to increase this defense spending? Oh yeah, once again, it was Donald Trump. Canada had not hit the NATO target, Trump was not happy, and the only reason investment, literally, I'm not joking, the only reason investment is being made into the Canadian military is because of pressures from the Trump administration. It's really funny that that's the case because Elbows Up just keeps turning into somehow wins for Canada, but not in the way that the Liberals said it was going to be. But we did have this other announcement recently. Carney vows $1.2 billion bailout for lumber sector hit by Trump's tariffs. One, they are using this again as a Trump excuse of how they are deploying capital into Canada's economy. Canada's economy, which we're going to get into, is not doing well. The lumber industry, before the Trump's tariffs, I'm going to continue to say this, before the Trump's tariffs was already starting a move down into the U.S. Major lumber companies were moving to America. This is being used as a bailout to keep these companies happy. It's all taxpayer dollars to keep this industry afloat. Look, I want to protect Canadian jobs as much as the next guy. But if the only way we can protect it is constant government spending and bailouts in that industry, that's not good. It's going to continue to build up sovereign debt, and Canada is already going to have an insane deficit this year. And speaking of debt, Canadian insolvencies rise to 2010 levels as bankruptcies soar. Canadian consumers have become world-renowned for their ability to juggle astronomical amounts of debt. Those days are coming to an end as insolvencies ripped higher in June, according to the Office of the Superintendent of Bankruptcy. It was the highest volume for the month since 2010, but the quantity isn't the only issue. It's the type of debt intervention that is becoming more serious. And the reason why this is a big deal is because people always wondered, okay, the jobs are keep falling, our economy's not producing anything. How are people in Canada affording all of these things, especially as companies keep moving down to the U.S. and all of this foreign investment that was supposed to come into Canada has been halted. It's not coming in. We're like, how are we staying afloat? One, has been government spending, and we'll get into that shortly. And two, it got so normalized in Canada to live beyond your means and to load up on debt. So now the government deficits are exploding in Canada. Bankruptcies continue to skyrocket on the personal side. And Mark Carney has been Prime Minister since March, and since then there has not been one new major project announced of foreign money coming into Canada to build in Canada, which continues to make it feel like Trump is still planning on Canada becoming the 51st state. And we actually do have a meeting between Trump and one of his top advisors. Here's a screenshot of a meeting between Donald Trump and his son Barron, and it says, "Your plan to annex Canada is working." This comes off the news of Canada's negative job print, but don't worry, Operation Curry Bomb is in full force and India is taking advantage. India's Modi invites Russia's Putin to visit among U.S. tensions. I actually think this was a bad diplomatic move. Even though Trump is wanting to meet with Putin right now to try and get the ceasefire going in Ukraine, I think this was horrible optics. Yet before you guys say in the comments, but they're both BRICS nations. BRICS isn't real. They never meet. They're not doing any deals. They don't even know what currency they're going to use. Whatever. I don't care about BRICS. That being said, if you're trying to get a deal done with the United States and they just increase your tariffs to 50%, I don't think these are the optics I would want. This is a major loophole that is being cracked down on in the United States, and Canada had this exact problem as well. The Trump admin is making a change to the H-1B program starting September 2nd, forcing all renewals to do mandatory interviews. This makes the entire process fantastically smooth. In Canada, we have what's called the LMIA process, the temporary foreign worker process. It's very similar to this H-1B program. And India used both these programs to subsidize themselves by sending millions of Indians to North America to remit all their money back home. And it, again, has been bad for the U.S. economy. It's been horrible for the Canadian economy. And now they're requiring that you have to do actual in-person interviews because they said it got taken advantage of during the pandemic and other things. Same thing as Canada. It's very, very similar. And they made everything online, and all you had to do was submit, and it was quick little paperwork, and we ended up with a lot of foreign entrepreneurs. But the good news is they are starting awesome, profitable businesses. Here's a new business in Canada that's starting. We now have the Indian tuk-tuks hitting the Canadian streets, which is exactly what we wanted. But don't worry, buddy. It's only $5. Only $5, buddy. Get in tuk-tuk. I'll give you a good time. Best ride, buddy. No problem. And that's exactly what I wanted to see in Canada. You know, just streets full of Indians who came over, most likely semi-illegally. They did technically do it legally. It was as close as you could get to the line of it being illicit. And of course, with us bringing over millions, it was destroying the job market, which we got addicted to immigration. We're going to get into all of the anti-American, anti-Trump rhetoric in a second, but just to show how the media is running cover for this, we have major contractions happening right now. To understand how disastrous Canada's July jobs are, you need to understand how these numbers look. The public sector is growing. Mark Carney's deficit spending is out of control, and everything that pays for all of that above, like entrepreneurship and the private sector, is collapsing. I don't think the tuk-tuk's really going to be helping that much, but the private sector jobs are plummeting. Self-employed jobs are plummeting. Oh, but look, in our recessionary trend, we still do have public sector growth. And now, getting into the media propaganda of them running cover for the jobs before they show us the anti-American, anti-Trump videos. Have you liked the video yet? We're trying to get these videos out in front of more people. We're trying to grow the channel. If you like what we talk about here, feel free to subscribe. Love to have you on board. Let's get back to it. This is the kind of stuff that they're saying why the youth can't get jobs.
This report that was put together by a number of community groups surveying young people right across the city of Toronto is that if you believe young people don't want to work and don't want a job, you should be disavowed of that notion. Over 60% of respondents said a job would help them reduce their dependence on their parents, for example. But the other key findings in this report show some of the challenges that young people face. 75%.
Oh, what are some of these challenges? Could have anything to do with mass immigration in the millions destroying the jobs? Let's see.
Of young people said, you know, a job must align with their values, their sense of purpose, but things like a lack of transportation, inaccessible job locations, competing responsibilities like trying to go to school or being a caregiver, that 74% of you said that that was a problem.
That's insane. That's insane. The fact that we have more public transit than we've ever had in the history of Canada, but now transportation's a problem. Now it's a problem that they're a caregiver at home for their parents. That's the issue. It has to align with their values. They don't want to go work at a store in the mall because it has to align with their values. No. And finally, we had somebody almost admit the real problem. He used disgusting language, in my personal opinion, to cover up the problem. Let's get into it.
Well, the big story for Canada's economy today is the disappointing jobs picture. In July, more than 40,000 jobs were lost, and in particular, we're seeing increased signs of challenges for younger Canadians who are trying to get into the jobs market. Travis O'Rourke is the president at Hayes and joins us to talk a little bit more about the trends that he is seeing. It's always good to get your analysis, Travis.
Are the trends going to be that it doesn't align with their personal values?
A lot of economists about the data points, but what is the challenge here for young Canadians who just want to get a job right now?
It's a few different stories. And you mentioned earlier about that youth group. It's kind of that 15 to 24. I'll kind of break it into two.
Okay.
So if you look at
that's the other thing that's worth noting. Youth unemployment goes all the way up to 24. People always think it's like 16-year-old high school kids who just can't get a job at McDonald's. All the way up to 24.
15 to, let's say, 20. The students that are still working, that are still at school, some of them are returning. They're really struggling right now because whether it's a retail store or some of the seasonal work, those companies are trying to hold back money and stop spending. The second thing you've got that group is dealing with is there was a huge influx in obviously new Canadians over the last 12, 24 months, and everyone is battling for a paycheck. So if you've got students who are only going to be here for a short window of time, and you've got newer Canadians that can work any shift over 4 or 5 months, maybe even into the winter, a lot of people are...
Travis, you're an idiot. The fact that you are using language of new Canadians for basically scammers who did an 8-month program from a diploma mill that they were sold into from recruiting agencies in India, and now they're new Canadians, so they come over, they do an 8-month program at some random community college in some random junk program, and they are new Canadians, so they scam their way into Canada, basically bend every rule, same with the temporary foreign workers and all of these other things, and they're new Canadians? So you're just going to water down and devalue the total national identity of being Canadian to anybody who graduates an 8-month stupid diploma program from a community college is now instantly a new Canadian at the expense of local Canadians, actual Canadians, real Canadians who can't get a job, and the youth unemployment continues to skyrocket because idiots like you are using language like this as propaganda to say those people are new Canadians. And until you and all of the people like you are willing to use real language and call out problems, it's going to continue to get way worse in Canada. But you guys love your propaganda, and that's why we're going to get into all of these propaganda articles, all of this fake news that's coming out that's anti-American, anti-Trump, and there are so many of these talking heads out there in Canada who are just making every problem so much worse. Like the title of this article, for example. Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada are making his party anxious ahead of 2026 midterms. I read this entire article. Do you know how they spun this title? This title was spun based on the fact that people are saying, we're not sure where the tariffs are going to go. Canada's not even mentioned. They're talking about Trump's plans with tariffs. Canada, as a specific reason why this party would be nervous heading into midterms, is not mentioned. But this article chose to try and undermine Trump, try and get Americans, Canadians, everybody wrong. Oh yeah, you know what? These people actually are concerned about these Trump's tariffs on Canada. No, they're not. You know what? Americans, weigh in down below. How many people do you have in your circle who have been saying, you know what? Actually, I'm really concerned about the tariffs that Trump has on Canada. I want to know how many politicians are on TV saying, I'm concerned about the tariffs that Trump's putting on Canada, because I'm not seeing any of it, but coincidentally, these guys are, even though it's not even in their own article. Then we also get stupid videos like this, where again, they try to make Trump look bad while Canada's doing the same thing, and they run cover for them.
President Donald Trump's new global trading order has brought American tariffs to their highest level since the Great Depression.
The tariffs went up. I think we're going to be heading towards $50 billion a month in tariff revenue that no one's talked about except for the president.
For all the enthusiasm, the White House is reluctant to admit where the revenue will come from. It's not foreign countries, as Trump has claimed.
The check is written by the importer right at the desk.
Yeah, and then, the importer can pass it on or not.
Pass it on to American consumers. Companies like Walmart,
or not.
Volvo and Adidas have warned of higher prices on everything, from clothes to cars to groceries. Estimates are it will cost the average American family $2,400 per year, thanks to a president who promised to lower costs, but instead keeps announcing new duties.
So, they just said thanks to a president who promised to lower costs. Well, guess what? The Canadian Prime Minister, Marxist conman himself, also ran on lowering costs for Canadians. Guess what he's also doing? He's putting counter tariffs on the U.S. Guess what you're not mentioning in this video? How Mark Carney, in theory, is guilty of every single thing you're accusing Trump of. And it's going to be bad for Canadians. But no, only Trump is the president who's increased cost of living. What else can we blame Trump for in Canada? What else can we blame Trump for in Canada? Let's check it out.
It doesn't even feel safe to be there right now. So much is changing so rapidly, constantly, and that's the thing that's scaring me.
That's Angel Jankel. They were scheduled to be deported from Canada back to the U.S. last month, but a federal judge temporarily halted the deportation order. Jankel is non-binary and lives with their Canadian fiancé who has epilepsy and requires regular care due to his frequent seizures.
Well, that's exactly what Canada needed. We needed foreign investment, and then we also needed foreign people into Canada who are confused if they're a man or a woman. Yeah, that's really going to help build Canada. Oh, this made it into the Canadian courts and cost tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars? Oh, that's good.
Home in the U.S., President Donald Trump has been rapidly scaling back the rights of trans and non-binary people since the moment he took office.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
I know that people don't have as many protections for their jobs because they have basically completely eradicated the language for trans people from everything in the system. It's not safe for everybody.
The judge who halted the deportation, Julie Blackhawk.
Okay, let's take a look at Julie Blackhawk there. Okay, there's the judge. This is the judge who halted the deportation. That's Julie Blackhawk. She is a judge. She's getting paid hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars to be a public judge in Canada. Julie Blackhawks. She's got her nice little medal on there, and she is adamant that these are our transgender refugees who Canada needs to take in. Why? Because you can no longer sign an X on your passport there. You can only put male or female. Huh, okay, that's worth them coming to Canada. That's certainly not a bunch of propaganda being run by, keep in mind, this is Canada's state-sponsored news organization that gets paid hundreds of millions to billions of taxpayer dollars. But don't worry, the anti-American, anti-Trump rhetoric didn't stop there. We have this video, which I think's way funnier at the very least.
When was your last trip to the United States? It would have been last year summer. Trips to the United States used to be common for Kelly Bergquist, but the ongoing trade war made her reconsider. I just don't really want to support them right now. If they're going to do that to us, I don't want to give any money to them.
If you asked me to draw a picture of somebody who was like elbows up, liberal boomer in Canada, who was voting for the worst things, I'd probably be drawing something similar.
Now she's planning a big trip next year to the Balkan countries in southeastern Europe. I could have easily done a Mississippi River cruise. As of right now, I'm just putting all that aside until we kind of see where things are going. Data shared by Flight Centre Canada shows Canadians are choosing other international destinations. From May to July, Buenos Aires, Osaka, Copenhagen, and Curacao saw a more than 100% increase in travel spending by Canadians compared to last year. Aruba and Lisbon have also seen a more than 60% increase.
I also do, well, first of all, Japan's like the #1 travel destination in the world, so it's not like that insane. It's became a major trend of just people are going to Japan. But I'd be curious, like, you know, the Curacao, the Buenos Aires, like, is that people going home?
Many things can influence the change, but this manager says tensions with the U.S. are top of mind for clients.
People are still traveling at the same rate they were. They're just choosing different destinations. So that tourism money that would have been going there is 100%. It's going to other places.
This resort chain in Mexico says about 15,000 more Canadians booked this year compared to 2024. The Canadian-owned company is doubling down.
Canadian-owned, for one. Also, they talked about if any of these people are choosing to travel to Canada to keep their money inside of Canada, potentially help Canadian businesses. No, they're going to go down to Mexico.
We have digital campaigns in 20 different cities in Canada at the moment.
So how coveted are Canadian travelers right now?
It's a market that we love, that we care for, that we've been working with for many, many years.
Those feelings are important for travelers, says this expert.
What we're seeing at this point is that Canadians want to go to places where they feel like they're welcome and they're going to be safe.
Oh, safe. I want to go somewhere safe. I don't feel safe going down to America. Where am I going to go? How about the Balkans? How about Mexico? How about Curacao? How about these other places where I would be more safe than America? Yeah, sounds like Canadians are making the right decision. Speaking of Canadians making the right decisions, we have a press briefing by Winnipeg police about 2 corrupt officers who sold illicit substances, extorted people, and took grotesque pictures with an unalived woman in her underwear. And here's what they thought was priority before getting to the messaging.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Pat Sadak, and I'm a constable with the Winnipeg Police Service Public Information Office. We have one item to discuss with you today.
One item.
But before we do that, I would like to...
Nothing pressing. Just before we get into the item of the corrupt police officers who were selling illicit substances, all those things we just listed, we got important stuff to deal with.
We acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 territory, the home and tradition lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'd like to now invite Chief Bowers to the podium to provide opening remarks.
There you have it, folks. While Donald Trump is making massive trade deals with multiple countries around the world, bringing in hundreds of millions, billions of announced foreign investment into the country, Mark Carney is floundering in the corner, unable to figure out anything other than spending taxpayer dollars. Canadian jobs are falling, but don't worry, we've recognized where the drinking water comes from. If you made it this far in the video, you absolutely rock. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are trying to get these videos out there and grow the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can do that through the link down below. You can do it through YouTube as well. Whatever one, anything helps, and I do appreciate it. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
our fiscal situation is a 350-pound, 2-pack-a-day smoker on the ICU table.
The U.S. federal budget is on an unsustainable path.
We're going to be broke really quickly unless we get serious about dealing with our spending issues.
There's no shortage of voices sounding the alarm about the national debt. America's borrowing levels are currently the same size as the entire economy and are expected to skyrocket from here. That's because the U.S. spends way more than it brings in and then borrows to cover that deficit.
There's plenty of debate on how to close that gap. Raise taxes, cut spending, a combination of both. No doubt any solution demands hard choices, but what are the actual consequences if the deficit gets out of control?
I often liken this to the invisible dog fence, where you really don't want to hit it, but you won't know until you do. And it seems like the U.S. is almost intent on finding out where that tipping point is.
Here, we'll explore not how to fix the deficit, but to figure out what could happen if we don't. We'll focus on 3 key areas: the potential market fallout, economic ripple effects, and international implications. Even though debt has been central to America since 1776, we haven't yet seen a tipping point. For much of the nation's history, the U.S. tried to balance the budget. That changed toward the end of the 20th century.
1991, 1990 were periods when there was a lot of uncertainty about our economy. I remember I was at that time co-senior partner at Goldman Sachs. And a lot of our clients were very uncertain what was going to happen, and deficits played a big role in that.
This is Robert Rubin. He advised Bill Clinton on his presidential campaign, The Transition, and later joined the administration. He ultimately served as the 70th Treasury Secretary.
I'll never forget, we had a meeting of the economic team, and at some point he looked at us and he said, "This is a threshold issue. It's going to be difficult politically, but this is what we have to do." And that is indeed what we did.
Tonight at midnight, America puts an end to 3 decades of deficits and launches a new era of balanced budgets and surpluses.
It was the first time since 1969, but the surplus was short-lived. Since then, the U.S. has had several rounds of tax cuts, multiple expensive wars, a financial crisis, and a pandemic, all contributing to an historic fiscal hole.
It's very, very roughly about 1/3 from tax cuts, 1/3 from spending increases, and 1/3 from emergencies. Those emergencies were the right time to borrow, the other 2, not so much.
Kent Smetter's team at Wharton creates models that show how policy changes impact the federal budget. What does the model tell you in real time about the current state of our deficit?
Fiscal policy is not sustainable. The economy essentially blows up. There's so much debt under current law that fixed income markets, bond markets will collapse.
Smetter's model shows that collapse could happen within 20 years.
If Congress really doesn't get its act together and try to figure out some grand bargain that solves this problem, then there's only one mathematical way of getting out of this, and that is for some type of default to happen.
A default is when a borrower can't make payments on a debt, but that's unlikely to happen to America because we have ways to get around it.
The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that.
If you print bonds in your own currency, what happens to the currency is it can be a question, because you don't default.
We just cranked up the printing press. That now means there are more dollars in the economy that are chasing the same amount of goods and services. That's where inflation comes from. And that's what we've seen throughout history of other countries that have struggled with high debt.
What do you think the likelihood is that the U.S. does experience a crisis related to its deficit or debt levels?
I think that there's more than a 50% chance that in 3 years, give or take a year or 2, that we will experience a trauma if we don't deal with this well.
Ray Dalio has been a global macro investor for 50 years, known for starting Bridgewater Associates. He's been concerned about government debt levels since the 2008 financial crisis.
I think of myself being very much like a doctor. I watch the plaque buildup in the system. I always said it was unhealthy, but I've not said before that the supply-demand picture is a very serious picture as it is now.
That's because Dalio has studied how countries go broke and says his research across centuries found that there are cycles that have led to big debt bubbles and busts, and he's deeply concerned about what he sees.
The supply that's going
Okay, guys, I got some delicious McDonald's. Some nice and healthy, delicious McDonald's. Oh! Oh no! I love McDonald's coffee too. By far my favorite coffee. Look at that.
going to be produced by deficits is greater than the demand for that debt. Like watching somebody having a circulatory system condition, you can measure those things. It's getting very severe.
To raise money and help pay for the growing deficit, the U.S. government issues and sells treasuries. When investors start getting jittery about too much debt flooding the markets and the risk of inflation, they'll insist they get paid even higher rates to buy treasuries. Ed Yardeni first started noticing this behavior in the 80s, a response to the raging inflation from the prior decade.
There was a lot of fear among investors that they could get burned again. And as a result of that, I coined the phrase bond vigilantes with the notion that if the Fed and the government weren't going to be responsible, weren't going to be the sheriffs in town to manage the economy in a way that would keep inflation down, that the bond vigilantes would do it.
Yardeni wrote in his newsletter in 1983 that the vigilantes were concerned about a $200 billion deficit. Today, the levels are 10 times that.
The bond vigilantes are more powerful than ever, and the question is, are they going to use that power, that extraordinary impact that they could have on the bond market, which is now more important than ever, and push bond yields up to levels that cause a recession in order to bring inflation down.
One country that experienced a mini debt crisis in the fall of 2022 was the United Kingdom. Liz Truss, who was then the prime minister, unveiled a plan to cut taxes by £45 billion.
I have a bold plan to grow the economy through tax cuts and reform.
Immediately, the pound collapsed. Investors dumped UK bonds. The local pension funds were forced to sell to manage their risk, all of which threatened a downward spiral. The Bank of England had to come in and stabilize the market, and the government quickly undid the tax cuts. But Prime Minister Truss never regained credibility, and she resigned after just 6 weeks in the role. But can that type of crisis, where the market quickly loses confidence, happen in the U.S.?
It's a risk that we think remains low in terms of the probability of this occurring here in the United States.
PIMCO is the world's largest bond manager, overseeing $2 trillion. Back in December, PIMCO said it was cutting exposure to long-dated U.S. debt because of deteriorating deficit dynamics. Can you explain more about your positioning there and just your overall concern as it pertains to the deficit?
The U.S. continues to be the global reserve currency. We have an incredibly dynamic economy. We have very strong institutions. So we will likely continue to attract a significant share of global capital. We do see other countries' sovereign debt that looks at least as good as the rate levels of the United States and is running much more prudent overall fiscal policy. So we're not running from U.S. treasuries. We're just looking to diversify into other areas of the world
Economists try to estimate how much investors will want to be compensated for longer-term risks like the federal budget and inflation. That's something called the term premium. If that is rising, it may mean investors are experiencing more uncertainty about macro conditions, whereas if it's declining, there's likely more stability. It's not a perfect statistic and models tend to vary, but in January, the term premium hit its highest level in more than a decade. It's pulled back a bit since then, but remains elevated.
If we don't see signs of attempting to get debt under control, those probabilities of a more crisis level type situation occurring will steadily go higher with time. And then again, when people worry about these tail scenarios, including PIMCO, we want to get paid a little bit more to combat against those types of risks.
The more expensive borrowing costs become, broad ramifications for the economy.
Which could affect other costs, the health of our economy and the growth of our economy.
Thanks to a combination of soaring debt and higher rates, the U.S. is expected to spend the most it ever has, nearly $1 trillion on interest payments this year. The Congressional Budget Office expects net interest costs in 2025 to surpass spending on Medicare, Medicaid, and national defense.
Squeezing out other parts of the budget, whether it's tax cuts you want, whether it's higher defense, whether it's higher social spending, all of those things get squeezed out when your interest piece of the pie is growing as it is now.
The cost to service the U.S. debt is expected to be 18% of total tax revenue this year. In 2022, that figure was less than 10%.
You've borrowed so much that your interest payments are growing as a share of the federal budget, and your debt is growing as a share of the economy, and it leaves you in a situation where it's slowing economic growth.
The tax and spending legislation that just passed has garnered mixed reactions about what it may mean for the deficit. The nonpartisan CBO has estimated it would increase the deficit by trillions over the next decade.
I tell policymakers in D.C., you might have your big, beautiful plan, but fixed income markets are the Mike Tyson. You might have your big, beautiful plan until you get punched in the face, because they often are not polite. They often just break instead of bend.
But some Republicans believe the One Big Beautiful Bill Act will spur economic growth thanks to tax cuts.
I don't believe in the CBO forecast.